What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just gonna go over how I got my visa into Thailand. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit those post notifications so you can see all the content I post at all times. As an American with the US passport, coming to Thailand is very easy. I don't have to apply for a visa if I don't want to. If I just want to take a vacation here, I can land in Thailand on a 30-free-day exempt visa. And then if I wanted to stay a little longer, I could go to immigration and then pay 1900 baht and extend that 30 days for an extra 30 days, making it a total of 60 days altogether. But since I planned on being here for like a long time, I went ahead and applied for a multi-entry Thai e-visa, which gives me 6 months in the Kingdom of Thailand. Now, even though I applied for a 6-month tourist visa, that 6-month tourist visa has the option to potentially turn into a 9-month visa. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, I just want to tell you the requirements, the timing, and the process of going through that application. And so the reason why this is an e-visa now is because usually you would have to go into a Thai consulate and you'd have to like take the application in, you'd have to take in all your documents, you have to bring in your passport, wait however many days, and then they would email you or call you back. You're like, hey, you've been approved or denied, come back and pick up your stuff and then head off on your trip. But now you only have to do it online. So everything is processed through an e-visa, which is great because now you don't have to deal with the hassle of like going into a consulate, scheduling an appointment, worrying about if they're closed or open during holiday hours. So it just makes it a lot more simple. So first things first, one of the first things that you should always have when traveling internationally is a valid passport, right? And I mean valid within like the 6 months before it expires. Like you need to have a valid passport. You also need to have 2 blank passport pages in your passport, and then you're also going to need to take photos of your bio data page, which is that first page that has your photo with all your info. And then you also need to take photos of each page of your passport that you visited within the last year. So it's 2023 now, we're going into the new year in a couple of days, but every place that you visited and got stamped on your passport within 2023, you need to have photos of. Another thing that you're gonna need to have is a passport photo. Now, I have collected passport photos because I travel all the time. And the last time I was in Thailand, I had to get like a few passport photos to extend my stay at immigration. So I just kind of held on to those for like a long time. The passport photo does need to look like you, so it does need to be a little bit more up to date. Luckily, my appearance hasn't changed much. I still have like my man bun, sorry, my hair is a mess, and structurally I haven't changed at all. So my passport photos were valid. Now, what you need to do with this passport photo is that you need to take a photo of your passport photo on a white background. What I did was I just got a piece of printer paper, I put the passport photo down on the printer paper, and I just took a photo, okay? The next thing you need to do is take a picture with you holding your passport on a white background. So how I did that was I just went to, I was at my mom's house at the time, and she's got white walls. So I just stood up against the white wall. I had my passport like right underneath my chin. So you could see like the bio data page with all my info with my face. And she just took a couple photos for me and that was done. The one thing I will say is that when you are taking the photos of your bio data page on your passport, try to do it where there's no glare so that all the information is legible. Now, the next thing you need to have ready is your plane ticket, okay? You have to have a ticket. You have to have documentation for all these things, right? So the biggest thing that I want you guys to know is that you have to have a ticket entering and leaving Thailand. And the ticket entering Thailand needs to be from your place of residency, all right? So if I'm applying for my e-visa from the New York consulate, I can't book a flight into Thailand from a different country, okay? Like I need to book it from the United States, all right? I mean, it doesn't have to be from New York, like it can be from Las Vegas, it can be from Los Angeles, Miami, but I have to have a flight entering Thailand from my place of residency, which is the United States of America. Now, you also have to show proof of your ticket leaving Thailand. So being that I'm on a multi-entry visa, I have to leave the country every 60 days. It's just the way that immigration just like checks up on you to make sure that you are going by the standards and I don't know, whatever. So you don't have to book the flight back to the USA. So I booked my flight into Thailand. I actually left from Los Angeles. I booked my flight into Thailand, and then the flight that I'm booking out in 60 days is going to Kuala Lumpur, right? Because it's very close. So I just booked the flight, and then I took photos of all my plane confirmations. So that's another set of photos that you have to take. Don't worry guys, you're gonna be taking photos of a lot of things like this whole process. It's kind of annoying, but don't worry, it's super simple. I was stressed out about it, but I got over it really quick. We now get to the financial aspect of what you need. So you have to provide a bank statement basically. And it's just basically to show that you have proof of income to support yourself while you're here, right? So there's been a few different speculations on how much money you need. Mind you, this is just for the multi-entry visa. So single entry is completely different. But I was just watching a YouTube video earlier today, and a guy, and he filmed this 3 months ago. He was on the Los Angeles Thai embassy website, and it said that it needed to show a minimum of 7,000 USD a month balance, 6 months worth of statements. I used the website thaiembassy.com, and I just kind of went through the requirements for what they expect me to have. And it just told me that I need to have a balance statement of 5,500 USD. So I just made sure that I had exactly what this list told me. So if you want to check it out, thaiembassy.com, they will give you all the things that you need. And as far as showing 6 months worth of bank statements, I literally just went to my bank account. I went to statements. I printed out the statement. It showed my available balance, it showed my average monthly balance, and it showed my ending balance. So, and it just had the official bank logo with my name, my current address, and all that other stuff on it. So that's all I printed out. And I took a photo of that too. So make sure you take photos of your bank statement. Accommodation is another thing that you're gonna need to have before you apply for this visa process, right? So they want to know that you have somewhere to stay, whether you got an invitation letter from a family member or friend, you're staying in a hostel or a hotel, and even an apartment. Maybe you have an apartment. So I have an apartment, but I didn't really know how to go about putting that on the application. Yeah, so what I did was I just got a hotel room for 3 days. I also just wanted the hotel room because I was traveling from the USA. It was a long flight, and I just needed somewhere to decompress and relax first. So yeah, I just booked a room on booking.com and put that info in there. So with that, I took another photo of my booking for my hotel accommodation. And I don't really think it has to be for a specific number of nights, because just because you're flying into Bangkok, which most people will, doesn't mean that you're staying there the whole time. So I think as long as you just have 1 night booked in a hotel, you're completely fine. You might want to travel to Chiang Mai the next day or Phuket. So you might not be staying in the same accommodation you stay in from when you land. And guys, that's pretty much all the photos and information that you really much need. So let's just kind of go back over what you need as far as photos. So you need a photo of your bio data page of your passport. That's that front page that has your face and all your info. So you need that page. You need photos of every place that you visited within the past 12 months. Photos of each page of your passport of those, okay? You need a photo of a passport photo. You need that photo. And then you also need a photo of you holding your passport on a white background. You will need a photo of your flight out of your residency into Thailand, and you will need a photo of your flight leaving Thailand within set amount of time. The next will be a photo of your accommodation, the place where you're gonna stay once you land in the Kingdom of Thailand. That's the most important, because I feel like a lot of people forget that they need that photo. I almost did, and when it asked me for it, I was just like, oh, I didn't even take a photo. And I just screenshotted that out of my booking.com app, and then just did it that way. You are going to need a photo of all your financial bank statements, which is just one statement. Like I said, you can go on your banking app and go to statements, and then I just screenshotted mine. And then you can do it that way, or you can just like go to a library, or if you have a printer at home, you can just print it out and then take a photo of it. And then last but not least, you need a photo of your state ID that has your current address on it. Oh, and if you don't have your state ID, you can use like a phone bill or like a water bill or cable bill, as long as it has your name and your place of residency. That's just all you need. Once you have all your photos together, you just need to make sure that they are in JPEG format, because that's what the system requires. And they can't be more than like 3 megabytes, I think. So for me, what I did was I took all those photos, I airdropped them to my MacBook, and I brought up the preview app. I imported them into the preview app, and then I exported them in JPEG and made sure that they were under 3 megabytes. It was very simple. I know it was kind of confusing at first, but if you have a MacBook, just bring up your preview app, import the photos in there, export them back out into JPEG format, and make sure they're less than 3 megabytes. With specific photos, like your passport page photos and like maybe your plane ticket photos, it only gives you one slot to enter one photo, right? So these 4 photos, I think I had like 3 or 4 passport pages, because I traveled a lot this year. They have to be on one page, right? So you can't just submit 4 different photos. You have to submit one photo with all the copies. So then what I did was I used the app canva.com, and I brought up a blank template, and I just took those photos and imported them onto a blank template, almost like a YouTube thumbnail. And I imported them all on there as one photo, and then submitted it in like that. So with my plane tickets, my plane tickets were like kind of weird, because like I didn't fly directly into Thailand. I flew from Los Angeles to Australia to Singapore and then to Thailand, because I wanted to spend a few days in a couple other places. So I just had photos of my tickets, and I just put them all in the Canva app, lined them all up. Some were upside down, some were, I flipped them around, and then I submitted them just on that one page. So everything just has to be on one page, and I feel like the Canva app is like the best way to do that. Once you have all those things submitted, you just have to pay the application fee and then wait. The biggest thing, so for the multi-entry, it's $200 US, I believe, somewhere around 200, 220. The biggest thing about the application fee is that you want to make sure that your application is processing, okay? Make sure once you submit that payment, it says processing. Mine said payment pending for like, I want to say like 4 or 5 hours, I think. And I was just kind of worried about it, because I was like, ooh, wait a minute. No, it actually wasn't 4 or 5 hours. It was actually like a full, I think overnight. I think I applied for my visa around like 8 or 9 p.m. and I woke up at 8 a.m. the next morning, and it still said payment pending, and I was just kind of confused about it, because everybody online, like I followed the steps, and everyone's ending step said processing and mine wasn't. And I went to my bank account to see if it had taken out, and it didn't. It actually, like, I think my bank thought that it was like a fraud payment, so it wasn't processing. And I actually had to call my bank so they would lift the fraud up so I could use my card after that. But like, I just recommend using a credit card, because credit cards will just kind of always go through. So once I used my credit card to make the payment, it then switched from like payment pending to processing. That is like the biggest thing, because you might think that it's just pending, waiting on the processing to come, but it's actually just stuck because it's not going through. So always make sure your payment says processing. My final words of advice for applying for this visa is to not procrastinate. Please do not procrastinate. Guys, I was flying out of the States on the 8th of December, I believe, on the 8th. And I had just applied for my visa maybe 5 days before. 5 days before. It says it takes like up to 15 business days. Like, honestly, if you're applying for this visa, and not just for the multi-entry, even for the single entry, at least apply like 20 to 25 days before you need this visa. Please do. I don't know how I got lucky, but I'm just gonna tell you guys how I got lucky. So remember I told you guys I applied for this visa on the 28th. On the 28th or the 29th of November, one of those days, I applied at like 8 p.m. And I woke up the next day and it just said like payment pending. And I was like, why is it still pending? Why is the money hadn't come out of my bank account? And then I realized what was going on. I fixed it. I used my credit card, then it went to processing. And I was like, okay, now it's processing. I go, but I've got like 5 days and we're about to hit the weekend. So it's probably not even gonna count the weekend days. It's probably only counting the business days. Guys, let me tell you, once that thing said processing, the next morning, 5 hours later, I was approved for my Thai visa. No lie. I got approved within like 5 to 6 hours for my visa. I don't know how, I don't know what it was, like, but I lucked up. Maybe they were just because like, well, he's getting here on the 12th and he's just now applying, so go ahead and push him through. Also, maybe like a lot of people weren't really applying for visas out of the New York consulate. So, I mean, it was December. I think it was like December, well, I got approved on the 30th. I went through the processing on the 29th. The 30th, I had my visa. But maybe they were like, it's like a Thanksgiving weekend, going into Black Friday, and then Christmas is coming up. So maybe not a lot of people are gonna be like applying for these visas. So I was approved literally in like 6 hours for my visa. I don't know how, but thank God. I mean, that's why I'm here now, right? And then after all that, they will email you whether you're approved or denied. Mine clearly said approved. They will send you a PDF of your visa. You'll print that out. I don't have a printer. I mean, I actually asked this question, I think on Instagram, like who has a printer these days? I have no idea. So I just went to the public library. I printed it out there, and then that was it. I carried it with me throughout my flight just in case like the gate agents wanted to see it, but I didn't really have to use it until I got to Thai immigration, like when I got there. And then when I got there, like I was nervous because some people were like, oh, I had my visa, but they didn't stamp me for the full 60 days. He stamped me for 60 days, like, bam, there you go, you're good to go. You don't have to leave until February 9th. I had already bought a ticket to leave February 6th because I had counted the 60 days, but he put me out on the 9th, so I was all good. Now I'm gonna get to the whole like 60-day thing. So even though I am on a 6-month visa, there are still certain rules that I have to like follow. And one of those is that like I can't do specific things. And I don't remember the list necessarily, but the main one was that you can't work while you're on your tourist visa. Now, if you happen to get a job in a work visa while you're here, you'll just leave the country and come back in on your new visa, and then you can start working. But while you're on your tourist visa, you cannot work. This is a strict tourist visa. So I'm taking photos, I'm making content, I'm traveling around the area, going to the islands, going up north, doing all that. That's perfectly fine on my 6-month visa. So just make sure that you don't get in trouble while you're here on your visa. Also, on that visa, even though it's 6 months, you have to leave the country every 60 days. So every 60 days, I will have a flight booked out of Thailand. And it doesn't have to be like a flight. It can be like a train or a bus. So just because I'm from the USA doesn't mean I have to keep flying back home to the USA. My first flight that I'm booking out is going to be to Malaysia. I think the second time I leave, I'm going to go either Hong Kong or like Vietnam maybe. And then I'll figure out the last one. But yeah, just as long as I'm out every 60 days, I'm good. May I also mention, you can still apply for the multi-entry visa from a different country. So I'm an American, so let's just say I was in like Albania and I wanted to apply for this visa. The closest Thai consulate is in Rome, Italy. So when I apply for this, it'll go straight to Rome, Italy. But being that you're outside of your country of residence, this could take up to like a month or a little more. So always just try to make sure you're in your home country. It'll go by so much easier and you won't have to deal with any hassle. That's pretty much all I have for entering Thailand on a multi-entry visa. If you are applying for this visa, like I said, please give yourself enough time to get all your documents together, all your photos together in proper format. Make sure everything is tidy and neat and legible, and apply at a decent time. Don't be like me and apply like 5 days before. I happened to look up, I still don't know why. I'm very happy about it, but at least give yourself like 20 to 25 days before you actually leave to come to Thailand to apply for that visa, especially during like the high season, because a lot of people are coming to Thailand during the high seasons, and you know, it might get a little cluttered at the embassy. So just make sure that you have everything together. And then, like I said, if you like all this information and you like this channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit me up in the comments if you have any other questions about visa information for the Kingdom of Thailand.